Hello Virgo, and welcome to your basically bi-weekly reading. So this is from new moon to full moon, and it is for Virgo rising or sun sign. All right, we have a lot of really big astrology. Well, it's pretty gnarly. Yes, it's big. It's astrology. It's worth paying attention to that we've got going on this week, and I'm not going to spend too long, but this is going to be a little bit longer reading. Normally these readings are like 5 to 8 minutes long, but we're going to take a look at a few extra cards because I think we could use the extra support we have the eclipse with the new moon happening. So it's a solar eclipse with the new moon on the 19th, and we also have Mercury going retrograde as well. So we're just going to pull some extra cards here for the eclipse, and also just because we're still working with the waxing energy of the moon, I want to know what can my Virgos be like paying attention to seeding actually here. Okay. To be like working on or working with, right? And I'll get into each of these cards individually. I just kind of want to like pull all of the cards ahead of time so we can see what we're working with. We're going to take some spiritual advice as well for the shadow card that I pulled above. Isn't that interesting? Some of you might be like, no, I want that one. But I got to go with what feels right. I guess you're getting two there. So that's what's happening. All right. So, and then let's get some spiritual advice also for just like the waxing energy that we're talking about below. Love that. Looks good to me. Let's go with this. All right. So Virgo sun, Virgo rising signs. So first of all, let's just talk really quickly for a moment about what kind of astrology we've got going on this week. And what we have happening on the 19th of April is the new moon coupled with the solar eclipse. And that is happening at 9:13 p.m. Pacific time. So adjust for your time zone. But that's happening in Aries in tropical astrology and Aries in sidereal astrology. So that's not really typical. Normally they're like in different signs, but I see like when they come together and they're in the same sign like this, it feels very like the energy is very clear and very powerful and very much that flavor. Like it's like all systems are like aligned and on board, right? So that's something that I think is worth paying attention to. And then also on the 21st, so just a couple days later at 1:35 a.m., we have Mercury going retrograde, and that's happening in Taurus in tropical astrology, and it's happening in Aries in sidereal. So if you're someone who follows sidereal, woo, that's a lot of fire, right? Am I right? So if you're not someone who follows sidereal, totally good. Don't even sweat it. Unless, like, if you watch horoscopes and stuff like astrology videos online, unless they specifically say that they're doing sidereal, you can just bet that they're doing tropical. So it's what probably a majority of people practice. So if you don't know what astrology sidereal is, don't worry about it. Just listen to like the tropical part, right? So with that, we will get into it a little bit more as we go through your cards, but let's start off with where the attention, like where all of these cards, like where your reading is kind of pointing to help us kind of like guide what area or what theme of life this is being applied to. And what we have showing up here is Scorpio. Interesting to have this card show up. You know, Scorpio, especially because on the 19th, when we have that new moon solar eclipse, it's going to be squared by Pluto, and Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio. So, you know, talking about those, what I was kind of mentioning with like these deeper themes that might come through with an eclipse, right? Scorpio is the taboo. Scorpio is the occult, like mysticism, wanting to go deep. Like they don't want to talk about the weather. They want to talk deeply about like, who are you? What is your life? What are your thoughts? What are your fears? What are your passions? Like, like the Scorpio wants to go deep. And also it can have to do with things that are in the realm of the hidden, things that get swept away and are hidden, things that feel dark and shadowy and difficult to deal with. Like, it can definitely deal with our shadows or our toxicities, right? And so this is like what is being kind of highlighted for your reading specifically. Now, I think like this is a really good time to just point out that with any kind of eclipse, right? Like, so we have 2 eclipse seasons every year, right? And so luckily it's only 2. But when we have the eclipse, it's like, think about the eclipsing of the light, something eclipsing the light, and how much shadow that casts, right? Like how many shadows are now there. It's like a very shadowy kind of world, right? It already kind of stirs things from the deep. But with it squaring Pluto, which is again the modern ruler of Scorpio. Scorpio is also ruled by Mars, but with it being ruled, was squared with Pluto, we have like this extra oomph of things that we normally kind of like sweep into the recesses of our mind, under the rug, like things that we don't typically tend to want to look at, might feel like they bubble up either internally or might be mirrored externally, right? So you might just be feeling like you're more present, more conscious, more aware of certain things, right? So I decided because of that particular theme, I wanted to pull a shadow card from my deck that is a shadow deck. And it's meant to be, if you feel provoked, good, it's doing its job. It's meant to be slightly provocative. And while I understand that this is a collective reading, so like this shadow, we're all human. We all have many different shadows, skeletons in our closet, whatever you want to call them. So we all have this, right? Or these. And so while I know that this is a collective reading, it's not going to maybe land for every person. I think that I still wanted to pull this because I feel like, you know what, this is, if this is your reading, if this is your message, if you resonate with this, then it does, and it hits, and it just felt right to do. So that's why we're doing this. So Peaceful Amongst the Thorns is the shadow card, like one of the particular shadow themes that you might feel bubbling up, or that might be present in your world that you might be dealing with, is the peaceful amongst the thorns. And like, here's the interesting thing with this, and I want to make sure that you guys can actually see that image, right? Sometimes we go so far into our desire to grow and to learn and to take every situation as a lesson, as a way that we can alchemize it and move forward in our personal growth, that sometimes we can stay a little too long in situations that are thorny, situations that are toxic, situations that don't serve us, because we are, with the best of intentions, I think, trying to work with it. And so there are times where it is time to sit and to work with and go inward and to be at peace with these things. And then there is a time where it's time to get the hell up and get the hell out of there, And so I think that that's one aspect of how this is showing up, right? There's another way that I sometimes see this card, and I think that it has to do with hiding in the realms of spirituality, hiding behind the shield of peace, of spirit work, of personal growth, right? And like one really good example that I can say about this is that, like just how, speaking as someone who has healed myself from like many, many, many years ago, I'm talking like now it's been quite some time, like 2 decades at least. I had to really work through healing from a couple of eating disordered ways of being and like some body dysmorphia. that I had. And like, not only with myself, but with other people, I learned to like see and recognize that, you know, there were a lot of people that were not healthy with their eating or with their image of their body, like I was, who were in the health field. Like, they were not teachers necessarily, but I just mean like they were, you know, really adamant about being healthy. And because it looked like they were doing yoga for like hours and hours every week, and like they were eating really healthy and like doing all these things that look like just like the ultimate healthy lifestyle, behind that was really the drive was coming from a place that wasn't really like healthy. It wasn't really rooted in something that was like yeah, just wasn't coming from like a healthy premise, right? And I can speak about that personally because, you know, like that was personal, and I've talked to other people who have come out on the other side of that who said, yeah, that was me too. So it's just like one example of how that can happen. But sometimes we can hide from ourselves, from our own shadows, from the things that need our attention, by just being too much in the realm of personal growth, too much in the realm of spirituality, and like hiding behind the shield of something that looks healthy, that looks like personal growth, but is still not, like, we're still not getting to the nitty-gritty meat of things. And that's another way that I can view this card, right? So that's just something that I really wanted to spend a little time pointing out, because I think that that card has just like so much meaning and so much depth, right? So if that's you, if you feel resonant with that, some spiritual advice that I see really coming through, and look at all of the fire energy that's really beautiful and coming through here. We have the Sun card. Now, the Sun being, you know, just the Sun is our life force. The Sun is our vitality. The Sun like brings nourishment and vitality to every single area of our body. I mean, I'm actually also studying medical astrology now as well, and what I can tell you is that it represents the heart and the circulatory system. So when that heart is pumping out like our very life force, and it moves through our circulation into every part of our body, feeding every part of our body, nourishing every part of us to make us feel like, you know, like our vital life force is glowing and shining bright, right? Like the epitome of like shining bright health, like vitality, right? And so this is what the Sun is. This energy is what your spirit guides are, or whatever you want to call them, your guides are basically pointing to. Like, the spiritual advice that's coming through is to really focus on your vitality. What makes you feel alive? Like, what makes you feel like you're revitalized, like every part of you is like filled with like golden light. If you could imagine like golden light pouring out from all of your pores of your body, right? And just feeling the kind of, I think, playfulness and the kind of freedom that comes from when we feel like completely free with ourselves, when we feel at home with ourselves, when we're able to free ourselves from the shackles of maybe like adulting and responsibility just for a brief moment, so that we feel completely at ease with the world around us, and like have that natural kind of awe and wonder and remembering what that feels like. So whatever brings about like this feeling, I mean, like, look at this guy. He's just like bare back riding naked in the sunlight. The sunflowers are out, so it's like spring, summer, right? Just like beautiful day, right? Just completely open and having the most beautiful experience. And I feel like that's the kind of energy that you're being guided towards looking to. And also, along with that, we have the Ace of Wands. And with the Ace of Wands, it's like, this is essentially like, you want to talk about manifestation. The thing I love about the Ace cards is that you see that, like, here we have like the physical world, and then out of the ethers comes this like hand, this assistance. So getting this kind of like assist from the universe, or whatever it is that you want to call it, and basically it's like handing you this staff, the fire staff. Like, the wands is a suit of fire, and like fire is translated to creativity. You know, this is about your passion and your creativity, your spark for life. Not just for life, like if any of this has to do for any of you, like just because this is a collective reading and I can't know this, but if any of you, this has to do with like you're single and ready to be out there, right? This is definitely like that very flirtatious, like very like just super juicy, super flirtatious kind of energy. Like that's that fire, right? It's that spark of passion. And if it's not about like dating or whatever it is, then like, or relationships or anything like that, then think about sorry, I'm getting over a cold. Think about your purpose. Think about like where, you know, what are you moving towards in life that feels this way, right? This is all very feeling based to me. Like everything that I'm getting here is very feeling based, and it's such a contrast to the shadow. It's all light. It's all fire, right? So I can see that I'm starting to run long on my time here, so I'm gonna speed this up. So we're also taking a look at, like I said, you know, this is still a time where you can utilize the waxing energy of new moon to full moon so that you can, you know, work with that energy to build, right? To keep building and the momentum, like get that snowball rolling. And what we have showing up here is the Six of Swords. So the Six of Swords, when we're looking at this, you know, in this particular position of like what seeds to be planting, essentially, like where to put your attention on, like where your attention goes, it grows, right? So like basically with this particular cycle, like where to put your actual attention, we have the Six of Swords showing up. And the Six of Swords is definitely, it's an interesting card because it is this allowing people, places, things, life, like an iteration of your life to be where it is, and for you to move forward, to go off. Normally what you see is crossing on a boat, to like crossing the emotional waters to another land that you see in the distance, right? That's typically what you see with this particular card, you know, and this is about moving towards that new adventure, that new path, that new, like, kind of almost like the grass is greener, but not really. It's more like it actually is greener, you know? So this is, and it could be about an actual physical move. So for some of you, this could be, sometimes the Six of Swords does represent a physical move to another place, but it doesn't always have to represent that. It can be definitely very metaphorical, right? Where it's like, maybe you feel like you're leaving certain people behind. You're not really leaving them behind. You're allowing them to be where they are, but not allowing where they are to keep you tethered so that you can't move forward on your journey, so that you can't move towards the things that light you up, right? And so this is really about you being focused during this particular time on like where you're going, your journey, and not allowing yourself to be dragged into this kind of like whatever feels like it's past or that you're moving away from. And there can sometimes be a little bit of grieving in that, right? That can definitely bring up some things, right? So your spiritual advice that comes with that is, I love this card. It's one of my favorite cards, actually, even though it's a minor arcana card. It's definitely one of my favorite cards. It's definitely very like my vibe, but the Three of Cups, it's so celebratory, right? So your spiritual advice is really talking about celebrating and enjoying life. And also notice that this is with people, like with, you know, sisterhood or brotherhood, or with like your tribe. I know that's gotten way overused, but like your community, your like pod, your people, right? And so like finding and connecting with like the people that you really resonate with and enjoying life with them. Cheers, you know, have good food, libations, good music, dance, giggle, laugh together, joke around, enjoy life. Like, remember to enjoy life despite any of the intensity that can come up during eclipse season, or especially like during this particular phase from new to full moon, right? So like during this period of time, it's like you can really just, even if it is intense, even if there's a lot going on, remember to enjoy your life. Remember to dance and to, you know, whatever it is for you that brings you joy and happiness, and to do it with others, to go like see your friends, to be around people that feel joyous as well, you know, that you can have that good time with. So, I would say if you want to get like a more full picture, I usually recommend going and looking at your monthly reading. So I'll have that up on the screen so you can just kind of click over and check that out. Again, you can check out, like if this is your sun sign, check out your rising sign. If it doesn't feel like this one is really like resonant with you, you know, you can check out the other one. Ultimately, the way to do it is to book like a personal reading, and that information is down below. So make sure that you like and subscribe. I am also going to be doing a reel to like just tell people how they can check out their chart really quickly and see what area of life the eclipse and the retrograde are going to be affecting in your own chart. So you'll want to make sure that you're following me on Instagram. Definitely like and subscribe here. Helps me out, helps out this channel, but also so you know when the next videos come out. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.